I'm here once again with another Things I Didn't Review video. For anyone who isn't aware of my channel, I mainly do movie and album reviews, do other things here and there, but that is mostly the type of content that comprises my channel. And so while I do a fair amount of those, I don't have time to review everything that I watch and everything that I listen to. So these videos that I come out with every 3 months are basically just recaps of all the stuff I didn't get a chance to review, either because I didn't have time to do it or because I didn't want to do it. You know, sometimes I just feel like being lazy and I don't feel like making a video. As much as I'd like to stay somewhat active in doing things in my life, I do also like having a lot of downtime, and I like having time just to do nothing and just, you know, chill and hang out. So these videos just have short recaps of all the stuff that I didn't get to review, mainly in the music and movie media forms, a little bit of TV as well, as you'll see in this video and other ones I've done. They're short clips, normally ranging from about 30 seconds to a minute on average, I'd say. And I have the time codes in the description below if you want to skip around to any specific things I talk about and you want to hear my thoughts on them. And yeah, without further ado, here you go. I think AftërLyfe shows a lot of potential for Yeats to expand outside of this trap hip-hop genre, especially with tracks in here like None Night Change being basically not hip-hop influenced at all, I would at least say. And honestly, for the most part, I'm really digging the production on this thing, but I'm not too into Yeats, the artist in this album. I feel like sometimes he finds a good hook, but other times I don't really know what he's doing. I feel like he's just improvising, trying to come up with something catchy. I think, you know, compared to someone like Playboi Carti, who he's compared to a lot, he's not as consistent with finding those good hooks and that kind of vibe overall for the album, for his albums, I think isn't quite there yet for Yeats. I think there's promise, but a lot of room to improve as well. So I decided to talk about the Estate Sale, the additional tracks that Tyler, the creator, added to Call Me If You Get Lost. Really enjoyed them. Really a big fan of pretty much all of these songs. I would say Boyfriend Girlfriend's the only one that I'm not too crazy about. All the other songs I thought were great. Enjoying the features and Staples, A$AP Rocky, all that, do great. And yeah, just a big fan of these songs. I'm glad that they came out. I am overall very satisfied with Call Me If You Get Lost in its entirety now with these tracks added. You know, it's cool. Big fan of it. The Record is the debut studio album by the group boygenius. For those of you who don't know, this is comprised of Julian Baker, Phoebe Bridgers, and Lucy Dacus, all singer-songwriters kind of fitting under the indie genre, as is this record, as is the group boygenius, along with their other works that they've had in the past. I think this is really good, and I'm really enjoying what they're doing here, but I do think that this also kind of slips into the same thing that some of their own solo material does, where you have a few songs on here that are a little bit slow, a little bit one note in terms of the instrumental diversity and kind of halt the pace of the album. But there are a plethora of great songs on here. Great writing and vocals all throughout. I think they're all really strong singers in addition to their writing talents. And overall, I'm just really liking this thing a lot. Metallica is back. Their first album in 7 years, 72 seasons. Was looking forward to this thing. Kind of had mixed feelings with the singles leading up to it, but still, of course, looking forward to what they come out with. And really not into it, honestly. This was a pretty big letdown for me. I think that the teaser tracks for this album were actually like some of the better ones on it. I mean, I was hoping there would be something a little bit better with the final product and we get just better material. I know I'm kind of being vague here, but there are still some great moments on here, and the band does still show a lot of talent when in this form, you know, writing a lot of long songs as they normally do. But it does have me just wondering how much gas is really left in the tank, to say. And I'm not trying to be pessimistic, but it's like, how much longer are we gonna just keep putting out albums like this and having these big times in between them? You know, I don't want to have to wait 6 more years to have another bland album like this. Don't Try This at Home is Youngboy Never Broke Again's new album. And I'm tired of this guy. I've tried to remain positive and say like he'll come out with something good. I don't care anymore. I don't care. 30 plus songs, almost an hour and a half long. I just don't care. I'm done. I don't care. So Jethro Tull has a new album out, and I saw a video of this guy pronouncing it this way. I don't know if it's how you say it. RökFlöte? I think that might be right. I don't know. But kind of surprised that they have another project this soon, just over a year after their last album, which came almost 2 decades after their album before that. So kind of surprising that this short of a time between drops for them. I was pleasantly surprised with their last one. I actually thought it was alright. And they kind of seemed to be just running it back the same time around, having the same kind of instrumentation, even kind of some of the same topical, subjects explored here with the writing. And it's just not as good in my opinion. I don't know, they kind of try to do the same thing, try to rehash it in a way with this latest album. And I just didn't like it as much. So Jack Harlow's new album, Jackman, came unexpectedly. And I was not anticipating it being all that good. And I didn't think it was all that good, but this is a clear improvement in my opinion from Come Home, the Kids Miss You. I forgot the title for a second. Yeah, that was easily one of the weaker hip-hop albums, if not albums period, that I heard all of last year. And this one is a lot shorter. It seems to have more focus and better production, honestly better rapping from Jack too, but there are still just some kind of cringy lines, cringy bars from Jack and weak hooks here and there. Overall, it's better, but it's still kind of mid. Ends and Begins by Labyrinth. I don't know if anyone else feels this way, but ever since I've watched the show Euphoria, anytime I hear any Labyrinth music now, I just can't help but think that it sounds like it would be in that show. So yeah, I don't know, this kind of just felt like a soundtrack to like the new Euphoria season or whatever. A few songs that are kind of cool. One that was in season 2 of Euphoria. That was pretty good. Yeah, other than that, not much else I got out of this. It was whatever. Forest of the Happy Ever After by Killah Priest. This is an extremely interesting record. I'm telling you guys, this is basically a concept album about different animals in the forest, in the wild, outdoors, whatever you want to call it, with tracks focusing on individual animals and completely wild. Killah Priest, member of Wu-Tang Clan, doing something like this is wild. I don't know what else to say, how else to describe it. Yeah, it's not really that good. It doesn't really work in terms of the execution of it, but it's just fascinating to me. I just can't believe this album exists, honestly. I think it's worth listening to just because of the oddity and the anomaly surrounding it. Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse, the soundtrack, not the movie. Later in this video though, you'll see me talking about the movie, so stay tuned for that, or skip to it if you want to. That's Metro Boomin does most of the production on here, and helming most of the tracks. And it's a movie soundtrack. I'm typically not into a lot of these, with a couple exceptions. And this is just another one that is sort of middle of the road for me. Liking a few of the songs on here, some of the features. I do like how certain songs are implemented into the movie a lot, and the movie definitely helped me enjoy some of the songs more than I probably would have just listening to them without the context of the film. So I can give it credit to that it's a better listen after watching the movie. But still, on the whole, nothing too special in my opinion. Some good production though. Beloved Paradise Jazz. I knew who McKinley Dixon was before Fantano's review came out, and I saw when this album came out, but I kind of just put it to the side, didn't listen to it right away. But then his review came out, and I saw they gave it a 9. I was like, okay, I'll listen to it, I guess. And he had all this buzz, so I'm sorry I kind of put this off, but whatever. I heard it, I've listened to it now, and it's awesome. I'm really into this. I'm loving the sounds. I'm loving just, clearly all the effort that was put into the production and the live instrumentation. There were clearly a lot of people that went into the making of this thing. and I think the end product is great. I think McKinley's a really great rapper, and I'm just really excited to see what else he comes out with after this too, and kind of how he responds to this buzz that he's getting at this moment. Michael is Killer Mike's new studio album, his first one in quite a while, in fact, and it's one that was clearly going to have some very personal tracks on it, some very personal subject matter explored with the title Michael. His name is Michael. It's him on the cover as a young boy. He semi-recent passing of his mother as well between the last two studio albums, and I think there are some great songs on here that focus around that subject matter of his mother or other things that happen in his personal life. And there's also some really great singles on here too that, maybe don't fit in that well with the general focus of the album, but are just great, strong songs on their own and provide some diversity as well to the album, sound-wise, lyric-wise. Memory Dust by Spoon, another EP. Obviously it's in the EPs section, but yeah, new release from these guys, and I gotta say I'm really surprised by how quality this is. And even though the three tracks on this thing do kind of have a demo-ish quality to them, there's also kind of this experimental nature to it as well that really shines through with the production. And even though, like I said, there's that demo feeling, it kind of felt rich and grand in its presentation somehow. I really didn't think I'd be saying this, but I think Spoon just made what's going to be one of my favorite EPs this entire year. Plane was a gripping, thrilling, intense, chaotic viewing experience. Any other synonyms you could think of to match those words would suffice to describe what it was like watching this movie. Just from the actual crash that takes place with their plane, which is not a spoiler, it's in the trailers, and then to where they land and the stuff that's all going on at this place that they crash land, and the fact that there's a criminal on board, but the criminal kind of becomes helpful for them. Also stuff that's in the trailer, I'm not spoiling it. It was a really up and down, I guess, roller coaster ride watching this movie. Just a bunch of crazy stuff happening. Maybe not the most original movie in the world, and maybe it's slightly predictable at times, but it had me on the edge of my seat, and it's really good. I recommend it. The Super Mario Brothers movie. I'm still just surprised that this movie is out now. It's happened finally. So much buzz and talk about it leading up to it, years prior to it actually coming out with the casting, all different kinds of stuff. It's finally out, and it's pretty good. Actually, I didn't mind most of the actors taking on these roles, although there were a couple, especially Seth Rogen as Donkey Kong, that personally wasn't into. I found it to be quite annoying, honestly. But, it is a simple plot, a simple story, simple adventure that these guys got to go on. It pays homage and tribute to just the Mario games in general, the Super Mario world. And as someone that enjoys playing those games, I enjoyed all the references and the fan service, and the movie itself that we got was entertaining. So I'm satisfied with it. Renfield ended up being pretty much everything that I had hoped it would be. Nicolas Cage is amazing as Dracula. Extremely funny, extremely over the top, but in all the right ways. I will say though that there are some actors in this movie that I couldn't help but think were kind of riffing off of what Nick Cage was doing as Dracula, and that came off cartoonish and over the top, kind of in the wrong ways on their end. Some of the humor also didn't quite land for me, but I was mostly down with the concept of this movie. I also thought Nicholas Hoult, Awkwafina were both really strong, gave strong performances in this movie, and there are some fantastic action scenes as well, super bloody and just awesome. Are You There, God? It's Me, Margaret did have a kind of off-putting style to it at first. It took me a little while to get into it, but once I was there, I was honestly there for the entire movie. Because it's very kind of fast and there's just different things about the way the movie is constructed that just threw me off at first. But once I got used to it, I was completely down with the rest of this movie. I think that this subject matter is handled very well here. Also very well adapted from the original novel. I'm loving pretty much all the performances here as well. I also tend to have kind of a soft spot for these coming of age type of movies, and while I can't completely relate to this movie and to this story and to these characters for obvious reasons, I still thought it was told very effectively. Peter Pan and Wendy, I think, does have a couple of upsides to it. I do like Jude Law as Hook, and some of the younger actors I think do an okay job, but I just don't find this movie all that necessary, and they don't do much really to expand on the duo of Peter Pan and Wendy. And with that being the title, I feel like it should have. Also, Peter Pan is a completely boring character in this movie and just completely stripped of all the charisma and funness that we've gotten in other Peter Pan iterations. Complete disappointment. I feel like if it weren't for the exploration of Rocket's past in this movie and the, heartstring tug-worthy moments, if I'm wording that right, that happen here, that I probably wouldn't have liked this movie that much, to be honest, because it's a pretty kind of simple, by-the-numbers quest that our characters go on. Entertaining enough and funny enough, and the actors are doing a good job, and some cool CGI. Of course, the music adds some flair as well. But the stuff with Rocket really adds some depth and some substance to this movie, and some great substance at that. And other than that, it's fine. It's pretty good overall, but it's definitely my least favorite of the three. Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. This was easily one of my most anticipated movies of this year. Big fan of the first one, and this turned out to be not what I expected. I know I've said that a little bit, like several times in this video, but this genuinely was a different movie than what I thought it was going to be, and I won't spoil it for anyone who hasn't seen it or doesn't have any idea about it. The animation is on a whole nother plane. As if I thought it couldn't get better, it has improved. It's absolutely spectacular here. I mean, seriously groundbreaking stuff in my opinion. And I'm just a big fan of what they're doing with this concept of multiple universes and how these different iterations of Spider-Man are coming into play in the story. It just has me very excited, not only for what they're doing now, but for, what seems to be coming in the future as well. I did not think that this movie was ever going to come out. From hearing all the different things over the years that was going on, different troubles with the production of this thing, with the writing, the directors, the casting. It seems like it was all just a complete mess. So I'm genuinely surprised that we got it. I did not think we were gonna get a Flash movie. And, it turned out pretty good. I do think, though, it's a very safe route now for superhero movies to just try the multiverse thing. I mean, every superhero-related thing is doing that nowadays. And, it hasn't really gotten old for me yet, but I feel like it's starting to get old a little bit for the most part. But it's handled fairly well here. I didn't mind it. I didn't think it was great. I like Ezra Miller as the Flash, and I like some of the other people in here too. Some of the, surprise appearances were cool. Maybe a little too much fan service if you ask me. It's a fun movie though. I basically feel the same way about the newest season of The Mandalorian as I do about the latest Guardians of the Galaxy installments. Not that I have the same, things I enjoyed about it and flaws with it, but in comparison to the previous two Mandalorian seasons, I think this is by far the worst. Kind of how I feel with the Guardians movies. But this is still a pretty good season overall. I don't love how they brought back certain characters, so I won't spoil it, but certain people are brought back into the mix, and I thought that could have been handled a little bit better. But I'm still loving all the stuff with Mando and Grogu. From a technical aspect, the show still looks fantastic, and there were specific missions and certain episodes that I did really enjoy here. Though I do wish I got more out of the overall story of this season. Smartless on the road. I'm not a big podcast guy. I really basically don't ever watch or listen to any podcasts feels weird saying that in the plural form. But I have heard some Smartless, I've heard some of their episodes, and I like these guys a lot. I like these Jason Bateman, Will Arnett, Sean Hayes. I think they're all very talented, and I think they're funny, and I thought this would be a cool thing to watch, and it turned out really good, actually. I love following these guys and watching them go on their tour and seeing the surprise guests that they had at each one of these events, and just going to the different cities and their whole banter with each other. A lot of fun to watch. I like the style of it being in black and white too. Really just a fun time, and I hope to make another one because I really dug this. Black Mirror is back. Been 4 years now since the last season. I don't understand the show and the rate at which they put out seasons, and how certain ones have only a few episodes, other ones have like 6 episodes. It's a little weird, but it's an anthology series, so I can maybe understand the differences in regards to those areas. But this was a great season. Honestly, it really was. At first, I wasn't sure if I was going to be as into it as I normally am with Black Mirror seasons, but this turned out really good, actually. I'm just enjoying how they have tie-ins to other episodes as well, thinking about similar types of technologies that are utilized here and there. Favorite episodes for me, Beyond the Sea, Demon 79, those are probably my 2 ones that I was really, really into. But I honestly enjoyed all the episodes here. And, hopefully we get another season sooner than this, if there is going to be another one.
And that has been the latest Things I Didn't Review installment in the Things I Didn't Review series. Hope you guys enjoyed that. And I do also just want to say that this video was not actually everything that I had watched or listened to. I did cut it down and trimmed it down just to stuff that I thought I would have the most to say about. So yeah, sorry about that. It's a little misleading at the beginning of the video, but just wanted to clear that up if anyone was wondering. We're halfway through the year now, which is pretty exciting. I'm looking forward to things that are coming out, to hopefully making more videos, because I feel like I have been slacking a little bit on the amount of content I've been coming out with during this year so far. So, hoping to do that, hoping to make more stuff for you guys to watch. Thank you for watching this video, even if you just watch parts of it. I appreciate that, and I'll see you all later. Peace out.